Do you want to know how to discipline a child with ODD? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. I also have parented children with ODD, so I know something about that. In this video, we're going to talk about how to calmly discipline children with oppositional defiant disorder without having power struggles and chaos take over the family. Oppositional defiant disorder, ODD, can be very frustrating because it can seem like you're not getting through. It can seem like everything, and I mean everything, has to turn into a fight. Now, some people think their children have ODD, and those children are just a little bit more rebel tendency, maybe. They might be defiant, but they're not actually oppositional defiant disorder. If your child has oppositional defiant disorder, they will be defiant with everything and everyone all the time. It will be very consistent. But does that mean that there's no hope for discipline? No, there's absolutely hope for discipline. In fact, I had a lot of great success working with troubled teens who were diagnosed with ODD, oftentimes diagnosed with ODD and ADHD. That's a common combination because sometimes ADHD presents with an ODD look to it, and so people aren't exactly sure if it's the ADHD or if it's the ODD or if it's both. So no matter what you're working with, I should have some things to share with you, things that worked for me, and this was actually the reason why people started asking me to be on TV and to teach things and to write books and all the things that I've done. It was because of the success that we had with such difficult youth. So you are in the deep water parenting, okay? If you've got a child with ODD, it feels different. The learning curve is different. The need for your own self-government is more extreme. Every parent needs to be working on their own self-government, but parents who have children with ODD absolutely need to stay calm. Your child with ODD needs leadership, not control. Now, they need self-control, but they don't need to be controlled by somebody else. And when someone has extreme behaviors, I think we very quickly go to control because we don't know how to teach them to not do this. It seems so impulsive, so automatic, it's so disruptive and difficult for everybody else. It ruins relationships. It feels like it takes years off of our lives. So what we have to do is have complete confidence in their ability to learn. Even if they have been diagnosed with ODD, they still can learn to control themselves. They have to just decide to assess that and to want to. Your child with ODD is a tester. Okay, they test with their behaviors. That's how they test you. They test their boundaries, they test your role, they test your leadership. Test, 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 test. So you need to make sure that you just go, oh, they're just testing. It's no big deal. I'm still just going to teach them. You can't be fazed by the testing. You can't be fazed by the emotions. They have this habit. It's like a fast track to that mid and back brain where they start to do that testing. And they will do it no matter what. So what do you do instead? So what do you do? Well, just this. Just do this. Actually, I have a course that will break it down a lot easier for you. It's on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. But these books here each teach one of the, I don't even know if I can hold them all. They all teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. And your ODD child really needs the disagree appropriately skill. That's this purple book here, Page Takes the Stage. They actually need all the skills, but that one's going to be huge for them. If you can train them to use that disagree appropriately skill, that will be a game changer. Now, when you have ODD, guess what? You actually don't want to say it that way. You don't want to do it like that. You want to do it your own way. And so what you might want to do is just have the book there as a reference for how to do it and then say, do you think that could be an effective way to communicate? Because it looks like she got her way a lot of times. That could be interesting. I mean, I wonder if we should try it. What do you think? Now you're giving them the option to choose it. The ODD person loves that. They might say, well, yeah, but I don't want to say, may I disagree appropriately? I just want to say, may I disagree? You could say, okay, well, we could say, may I disagree? That's an okay thing to do. Now, they don't get to pick everything all the time, even if they have ODD. But when you're teaching a skill, if you let them pick a few pieces of it, they might actually clue into it and decide that it's theirs, which is nice. So if it's not a big difference, then I would go ahead and go for that. But teach them that skill and how to be understood in a way where they're seeking to understand other people too at the same time, because that's what that skill does. Now, these books here are going to be golden for you because these books will teach you the skills that you need. So this one is Parenting a House United. That's my main book. It's what people kind of call the Bible of parenting lots of times to me, because they're like, how does everybody not have this? How did we just not have this forever in our society? And this is because instead of manipulating in our parenting, it brings everything back to the principles that you need. So this is huge, this book here, but this one also rolls The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. This is a huge resource for you to help you understand your roles and to help your child understand their role too. So as you read this book, this is an authority that is not you. It might be something that they would listen to more than they would listen to you. Also, by the way, learning this stuff that's in this book, not from you, but by doing maybe the TSG parenting course, which is a series of video trainings together, could actually be a good way for them to say, I think we should do that. We should adopt that. That makes sense. If they choose it themselves, it's going to be a lot easier. Now, a true ODD person might push against me too, but if it's coming from me, it's going to be better than if it's coming from you if they're truly ODD, because they probably are used to being more ODD with you. So doing that training together could really be a game changer. Anyway, the stuff in here is going to help. Let's talk about some of the things that you can expect. So what do these ODD behaviors look like? They look like pushback. They look like defiance. They look like you can't make me. They look like walking off. They look like getting aggressive. These are some of our least favorite behaviors to deal with as parents. But really remember that those behaviors are just signals that they are misunderstanding something or that they're needing to find more understanding from you. They just are expressing, I'm not okay right now. So then what you're probably going to want to do is go straight to a corrective teaching. Now on the corrective teaching, make sure that you're not taking things personally, because remember, they like a power struggle. They like to engage in a power struggle. So just describing what you see and like stating the facts, that's what I would always tell myself. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. That's what I would tell myself inside my head. So I'd be working with this out of control ODD youth, and I would say, so right now you're not looking at me. Uh-oh. Step number 1 to all of the 4 basic skills is to look at the person. Well, they can't deny that when they're literally turned to the side. Say, right now you're not looking at me. That's not following instruction. So then all of a sudden they look at you. But they know that they're not going to be completely calm, but they'll look at you. Because the ODD person wants to do like the least they have to, right? They want to get their way. They don't want the inconvenience of being corrected and earning an extra chore or something like that. But they also don't want to know that they sold out, that they did it actually all the way. So they might be like, okay. And then you talk to them and then they want to be able to go, okay, and walk away. But that's not a calm face. It's not a calm voice or body. And that's step number 2, is to have a calm face, voice, and body. So if they don't have a calm face, voice, and body, then I'm going to be correcting that as well, right? So now you don't correct every little thing individually, but what I would do, say they don't look at me first. I would say, just now you didn't look at me, which means that we're not having the connection we need to have this interaction, and it's just going to take more of your time. So I'm going to give them a reason that's going to matter to them. This is going to take more of your time. Or I might say, when you don't look at a person, you're choosing not to have a connection with them. They might say, yeah, I'm choosing that, or whatever, and then just ignore it. Then you go on to step number 3, which is to tell them what they should have done. So you should have looked at the person. Since you chose not to look at the person, you've earned an extra chore, okay? And then they might be like, no, I don't care. If you've taught them, listen, If you go through this correction and you accept it, then we don't have to move to the intensive teaching. And they know that formula to follow through. And by the way, on my website, there's a thing called the Teaching Self-Government Choices Map. The Choices Map will help you know what comes next. If they don't do this, then you do this. If they do this, then you do this. It will help you know what to do as you're navigating each interaction. It will help them know as well. And when it's concrete on a map like that, then they feel like, okay, I can't change this because it's already written down on a chart. You know, it's like more concrete. Okay, so you show them this is when we'll do all these things, and then when they push back, you would just go straight into intensive teaching, something called the rule of 3, where they would get the opportunity to earn 3 negative consequences if they didn't choose to get themselves calm and pull themselves together. But hopefully you can teach them just to accept a correction. It's all about the predictability. When a person has ODD, they're used to pushing back. That's their go-to habit. If you have a cue phrase, maybe you could have a phrase like, use your skills. And then they're like, okay, I got to use my skills. Okay, let's do that again. We use the skills. Then they might not be failing all of the time. But there does come a point where you have to correct every little bit of it every time so that they will fine tune it and not use that oppositional defiance and then go to, okay, now I'll use my skill, because they got to get it out of their system. That's another thing that a lot of ODD people do. So there does come a point where you have to correct every time they don't do it exactly right. Don't be afraid of corrections with your ODD child or youth, because they need them. I think a lot of times we worry that we'll be too negative. There's no rule that says you have to be negative when you're doing a correction. I don't know why you would be negative doing a correction. Don't. Be calm, be connective. Be caring, but, you know, maybe with your emotions, you're just a little bit more flat, like, you know, this is what happened, this is why it wasn't good, this is what you should have done, this is the negative consequence you've earned, okay, let's practice it the right way, all right, praise, 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 but you don't make it anything that's about you. If you don't take any of it personally, if you're completely calm, your ODD child is actually not going to have very much success with their power struggles, and they'll soon just decide that they're going to follow the script too, because it's not going anywhere. And once it's established as a script, as a certain dialogue that happens every time, it makes it very difficult for them to power struggle and manipulate around it. I have so many more things that I can teach you. My website, teachingselfgovernment.com, is full of trainings and resources like that choices map, and like the TSG parenting course, which we talked about earlier as well. In fact, I highly recommend going to that TSG parenting course. You need some help, right? If you're dealing with ODD, that is a bigger learning curve than usual. Take that training with your child, especially if they're maybe ages 6 or 7 and older. They can do it with you. Just take it in small chunks. So go to teachingselfgovernment.com today, get that TSG parenting course and anything else you might need. I'll see you there.